Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. Well, we beat Burton 1-0 last night in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and we're in the final on aggregate 10-0. And I got to thinking about our recent cup exploits as I was putting this shirt on today. Now this shirt is a commemorative shirt that was made after City beat Stoke in the FA Cup final of 2011, our first trophy for a very long time. And got a couple of these shirts, one in this colour and one in sky blue as well. And I absolutely love these shirts, absolutely beautiful. I don't think we've done anything similar for when we've won the League Cups, which we've won 3 in the recent times, beating, let's have a think, Sunderland. Absolutely great game years ago. I remember taking my littlest lad, he's probably something like five years old at the time, get him started young. I think his first game was when he was 2 years old, when he watched Sergio Aguero's debut for City. And then the Liverpool game a few years back when we beat them. I took my other lad to that game, absolutely fantastic. And then obviously last year when we beat Arsenal. Those are the recent ones, and I got to thinking about the two that I missed. I mean, 1970, the League Cup. Sorry guys, I was only just born, I was a baby, so I didn't go to that game. And the 76 Cup final, I was just a little kid. And if you remember, the iconic overhead kick from Dennis Stewart, fantastic player. One of my favourite players when I was growing up, Dennis Stewart and Peter Barnes. Fantastic talents, the pair of them. And yeah, our FA Cup exploits, and we've not had such a good run in the FA Cup. Going back, obviously, we won it in 2011 against Stoke. Beating United in the semi-final beforehand was exceptional. And Mario Balotelli, he just knows how to wind people up. I still love the way he was winding up Rio Ferdinand. But it's not been the best of competitions, you know. Following that, we lost to Wigan in the final with Bobby Mancini, and that was a dreadful day, to be honest. The weather was horrible. The game wasn't great. We were poor. It chucked it down after the game, and I remember walking home in the rain to the train station, absolutely soaked wet through. And the sad thing was, I think if we'd beaten Wigan and stayed in the ground for the celebrations, it stopped raining once the celebrations were over. But by that time, we were soaked already. So the Cups are great for City in recent times overall. You know, winning the League Cup 3 times, the FA Cup once. We've got the FA Cup at the weekend, you know, and hopefully we'll get one or two of the kids might just make that team. But let's be realistic as well. Pep says you have to deserve to be there, and in all honesty, I expect it to be pretty much back to a first team squad there, you know, because I mean Burnley are in the Premier League, you know, they're not like lowly Burton in the third tier of English football. Burnley have got obviously a much better standard of player, and we're not going into the game 9-0 up already, so you can see why he played a few kids, 2 or 3 of them last night. But I think against Burnley we'll be back to normal, back to more of a first team. You might get the odd fringe player. I mean, I expect Maris to start on Saturday. Maybe Gundogan and Walker might be back. But I'm sure you'll get 2 or 3 fringe players at least will be playing. I don't expect Muric to be playing. But, you know, it'll be very interesting to see what Pep does for this weekend and who's on the bench. Will there be any kids on the bench? I mean, after last night, once again, Eric Garcia has shown us his quality. Poveda looked a very decent player as well. You know, Sandler, could any of these guys make the bench at the weekend? It might be difficult, you know, because obviously we've got a big squad and we want to get some of the fringe players playing or on the bench. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. And in other news, I mean, we all should know by now that Frenkie de Jong didn't choose Man City. Fair dues. I mean, it's up to the player. But, you know, these snidey, snivelly comments in the press that he snubbed City. When you turn someone down, doesn't mean you snub them. It can also mean you chose somebody else. Okay, choosing somebody else as your preferred option doesn't mean you snubbed the people you turned down. Okay? We said weeks and months ago both Andy and myself have said this about Frenkie de Jong. He looks at an amazing player, an amazing talent, 21 years old, playing for Ajax at the moment. He looks a phenomenal prospect, and he's starting to deliver as well. But we said his preferred choice was Barcelona. He was a Barcelona fan growing up as a kid. That counts for a heck of a lot. It's one of the reasons Virgil van Dijk went to Liverpool, because he was a Liverpool fan, I believe, growing up. So, it doesn't matter how much your team can offer. City could have offered 100 million to Southampton for Virgil van Dijk. If Virgil van Dijk wanted to go to Liverpool, that's the only place he was going. And City stepped away when I think they were aware that that was his pretty much only choice. So what's the point of being interested and having any hopes on this guy coming to you? And I think it's the same with Frenkie de Jong. He wanted to go to Barcelona. That's quite clear. He was his boyhood club. That's quite clear. Messi is he wants to play with Messi. He said so himself. All the arrows, all the information was pointing to him going to Barcelona. That was his chosen preferred option. Now, if Barcelona couldn't pay the money that Ajax wanted, or there was an issue with Barcelona, whatever reason, and Barcelona wouldn't push through with purchase of Frenkie, then he'd look at the other people like PSG, City, possibly Juventus or whoever. He'd look at the other options. And like we said, I think a couple of weeks ago, it's more than likely he's spoken to all of these clubs, all the suitors. Definitely his agent has. And from reading comments overnight, it seems quite obvious that he's spoken to the managers as well. He says he's spoken to Pep and talked to Pep. But if the guy's heart is set on Barcelona for all the reasons I've mentioned, the fact it's his boyhood club, he loves the club, he loved Pep's time there, and he wants to play with Messi, then that's where he's more than likely going to go, unless Barcelona don't want him or don't want to pay the money. It's as simple as that. It's going for 65 million quid with apparently 9 million quid of add-ons. If City had offered 75 million quid and the player didn't want to come, when I say didn't want to come to City, he preferred to go to Barcelona, there's no way Ajax can force him to come to City, and they'll just end up with an unhappy player. Ajax are getting a shed load of money, 65 million quid for a player that's come through their ranks. So they're basically making a total profit on this deal. So, why be greedy and trying to get more money elsewhere and make the player unhappy and say you can't go? It's just a messy situation. And it's going to be the similar thing, I think, with Arnautovic at West Ham. He wants to go now. They say wait till the summer. Why? And they want to keep the player, but why keep an unhappy player? So they'll let him go. I think at the in the summer, just because it's better for them to have him playing and focus for the rest of the season. Liverpool apparently did it with Suarez. When he wanted to leave, they said, listen, just stay for another season. Give it your total focus. That's what they want. And so it happens. Players want to move on or want to pick certain clubs. Frankie's done that. So be it. It's his choice. But it's certainly not a snub on Man City. I think we were very close. The players probably agreed terms in terms of what he'd get paid by each of these clubs. I think that's only normal with the agents being involved and everything else, with multi-million pound deals. And it was just a matter of who he chose. He chose Barcelona. We'll move on to Tanguy Ndombele. I think he's in a very good spot to be picked up by City. There's talk of Allen. I'm reluctant to think about Allen because I think he's in his late 20s. Was he 28 years old? It just feels too old for me. Yes, I know we got Fernandinho in his late 20s. But he's an exceptional player and he's proven to be so. And he's proven that he's got his legs still. He's 34 years old. But who's to say Allen can do the same? And the kind of money that's been asked for him just feels like way too much. You can look at Neves or as well at Wolves, or maybe one or two other players. But my feeling right now, although it's gone a little bit quiet, there's a lot of buzz after the summer, is Tanguy Ndombele. It'll cost us maybe 75 million quid, might be a little bit more than Frenkie. He's still of a similar age, 21, 22 years old. He's still developing, he's still got phenomenal potential, and I feel he's going to, he can be a box-to-box player. He's not worried about getting stuck in. He certainly will get stuck in and do the defensive side of the work and make the short passes, the longer passes. I think he can do just about whatever we want him to do, and he's still young enough. He's still got more potential to develop, and under Pep, it could be fantastic. So, that seems to me to be the pole position now. Frenkie de Jong's gone. Don't worry about him. Don't cry about it. You know, he's happy, very happy to go to Barcelona. That's who he wanted. And end of the day, we said that ages ago, that's his preferred option, and that's where he's probably likely to go. We'll see what happens with Ndombele. But those are probably the biggest bits of news right now. I think anything else is, you know, people just making up stories at the moment in the press, because obviously City are an interesting read right now. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, fantastic if you could subscribe. You know, there's nothing stopping you. Just click that red subscribe button. Help us. We're just about at 6,000 subscribers now, which is phenomenal since we started in late April. It's been a fantastic ride so far. It'd be great to get to 6,000, and you know, our target by the start of next season is 10,000. That would be amazing, absolutely amazing from where we come from. If you like the video, always nice to click like. If you hit the bell icon, you'll be notified as soon as new videos come out. And if you get any, as I said before, if you get any players you want us to talk about, any thing that's interesting, whether it's turnover, financial fair play, I mean, that's something that's been mentioned today on Talk Sport, horrible radio station. But we listen to bits and pieces and see what people say. And they're talking about City's commercial income, and in a disparaging way. Well, City charge a lot less than other clubs for their season tickets, and that's one of the reasons our commercial income is a lot lower than theirs. But hey, let's not let's ignore some of the facts, and let's just keep the hyperbole and rubbish going, because that's the agenda that's set. So if there's anything you want us to talk about, put a comment in the comment section below. We'll do our best to do a story on your comment if we think it's right, and we do our best to reply to just about every single comment. And what other channel will do that for you? Every single comment, we do read them, and we reply to as many as we can, and probably with the best part of 80-90% we do reply to. See you around, Blues.